And here we go. We have our first PvP of the evening. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player representing Team Hazard Esports. It is Rostok. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. It is MindelVK. Let's go, Eva! Some Eva fans in the chat. Let's go. Some Platinum Heroes fans in the chat. But yes, we're here to find out who faces off against Eva in the semifinals. Will it be one Protoss or the other? Again, I'm not too familiar with Rostok. I'm here ready to bear witness, ready to see what he has to offer in this matchup, in this PvP. As I kind of sift through my memory banks, I do recall that MindelVK can be a very aggressive player. I do remember that in PvZ specifically, MindelVK, he can be very macro oriented. Caused a lot of long games, a lot of long macro games from MindelVK against Zerg. Oh, and if he does advance on forward, I may see that again against Eva. Not something I'm necessarily looking forward to, but it's all good. It's okay. But yeah, Rostok, I'm not too sure, so we'll see. So far, everything's looking standard. Double gate openers from both Rostok and MindelVK. No gate expands. No one is crazy enough to be too economic here in game one. Gateways are thrown down. And, oh, we have our initial units. Rostok is going to be going double adept. MindelVK is going to be going Stalker Sentry instead. So if you want to read into this a little bit, this is a very safe opener out of MindelVK. The Sentry gives him a lot of safety, not just with the shield battery early on, but also with the hallucination. That's the most important thing right now, is that with the Sentry, he can scout across the map for free and see everything that his opponent is up to. So again, a very defensive, safe opener here from Mindel. Rostok is being aggressive. He's going for a double adept opener to harass and get economic damage done. 2 adepts do one-shot probes, so they're going to try and slip past the wall and get into the main base. Likewise, he is delaying his Nexus and he's going for a faster Stargate instead. And this is pretty suspect. MindelVK went for a pylon block and the pylon is still alive. It hasn't been dealt with, and there we go, the adepts have been revealed. MindelVK is aware of them, he's getting ready back at home. Still throws down that Nexus, so again, a very economic opener out of MindelVK. Second Stalker shows up and Rostok is being pushed away. As he tries to shade up into the main, he's going to be denied. Oh, the first adept goes down. Second adept will survive. Across the map, we have an Oracle on the way. So this hasn't been scouted yet. MindelVK hasn't seen this, but that is what the Sentry was for. We have the Phoenix zooming across the map, and MindelVK should get an eye on everything. Should be able to scout his opponent. Now, these Stalkers, there are Protoss players out there that are so good at sniping these hallucinations and denying the scout, but the Stalkers were not in position. Stargate has been spotted, Oracles are confirmed, and MindelVK should be getting ready back at home. Stalker army being a little bit adventurous. We do have a shield battery here at the natural. The main base is very exposed, though. As we do warp in a couple of Stalkers, and there we go, they're getting in position in the main. As the Oracle's actually going for the army. Okay. I mean, he does get a Stalker and the Sentry, but he loses the Oracle. Was that worth it? I mean, he is going to be keeping MindelVK in the dark. Second Oracle is moving out. Pushing up this ramp is not going to be the play, as he does run into reinforcements. MindelVK going to be losing one of his Stalkers. He could lose both. He does reinforce with his own Stalkers. Meanwhile, back at home, nothing in position. 2 probes. Oh, 2 go down. 3 probes even. Can we get a 4th? Up. Not quite. So 3 probes. It's okay. Not amazing. Oh, MindelVK. Can he catch the Oracle? He's trying to, but doesn't quite end up getting there in time. Oracle will avoid those Stalkers. Back at home, both players are just macroing up, saturating their natural bases. MindelVK, despite losing 3 probes, is still ahead in the economy. That just goes to show how much more powerful his opener was, at least economy-wise. And this Oracle opener from Rostok just hasn't really paid for itself. It needed to at least equalize the worker count, and it failed to do so. And we already lost one of those Oracles. The second Oracle is still alive, so I was going to say, potentially we could find some more probe kills, but it takes even more hits. Depths are looking to shade on in. We do commit to the shade. We do get into the natural. Probes are going down. Not too bad. It took a while here, but we have now stabilized, or we have equalized the worker count. MindelVK has been mining more for longer, so even though he's a little bit down in the workers now, he's still in a better economic position. Especially now that he's working on his third. Rostok, what is his plan right now? We have 3 gateways. We're working on Blink. And we are looking to expand and take a third. Okay. So it looks like Rostok just wants to get into the mid game. Catch up in the macro. Well, the Stalkers, they do miss each other. Uh-oh. Rostok is out of position. MindelVK, he just walks straight into the natural. Yeah, we have to commit. There's no turning around. Probes are going to go down for both players. Rostok is looking to deny the third base, but Rostok is losing probes in his natural and in his main. We do blink on forward. The Stalkers are falling left and right. Rostok denying this third is not good enough. Again, that was just a cancel. Meanwhile, Rostok, he's losing probes. He's losing so many workers. Oracle goes into the main, but it doesn't find too much damage. The boys are being pulled. MindelVK, he evacuates his natural. Meanwhile, Rostok, he's losing everything across the map. Even loses his third. Oh my god. Oh, sorry, that was a cancel even. Just so we can have some money to work with. It looks like he is going to barely find a kill at the natural base of MindelVK. So MindelVK is stuck on 1 base economy, but he has a good worker count. Meanwhile, Rostok has 2 bases, but he's down to 9 probes. Ay. He can't even saturate his main right now. Yeah, and MindelVK, he came out ahead in the base trade. Completely catching Rostok out of position. And did have the better end of that base trade. Okay, at the units tab, Rostok does have a larger Stalker count. He does have a bigger Stalker army. Could he maybe overcome these There's 2 Immortals. We can't really break through this. Immortals doing so much in the back line. Despite the fact that MindelVK has less Stalkers, Immortals, they make up for that. As he does bully the army back. More Stalkers on the way. We have a third Immortal in production. And that Stalker advantage that Rostok once had, it's not there anymore. It has been evened up. Oh, I love this. Rostok trying to bait the army into a stasis trap, but MindelVK is not going to chase him out that far. Dark Shrine on the way. I don't think we even need the Dark Shrine, but sure, why not? Why not go for the DTs? +1 about to kick in as well. Rostok's just trying to buy time, trying to be active and keep MindelVK busy here back at home. Oh, Rostok is reprobing, resaturating his bases. I mean, he knows that he killed the bases of his opponents, so he's hoping that maybe things will be a little bit more even. Here we go. A couple of adepts are shading into the natural. Into the main. They do force a recall. Again, just keeping MindelVK busy. But there's just so much catching up to do. That's the problem, right? Like, we're down in upgrades, down in bases, down in workers, down in army. there's a world where maybe Rostok, because he's making an Oracle right now, maybe he gets like a really good stasis trap. If he's able to catch like the majority of the Immortals. DT's on the way. Oh boy. Do we have detection? We have the Oracle. The Oracle can use Revelation. But the Oracle is out of the map. The DT is slipping into the main. And the Oracle is none the wiser. GG gets called as the DT reveals itself, and MindelVK will take game number 1. GG. Really solid game. Really solid game out of MindelVK. Oh, good stuff. Nothing too fancy. Nothing too crazy. It was Rostok who took the role of the aggressor, and MindelVK was able to, for the most part, deflect Rostok at every turn. Things eventually culminated into a base trade, of course, but MindelVK was the player that initiated it, and he hit the natural first, whereas Rostok was busy at the third base instead, which probably wasn't the best idea for that base trade. Again, canceling a third wasn't a big deal at all, so yeah, just wasn't able to do enough damage there as we get into game 2. Game número 2. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player representing Hazard Esports. Struggling a little bit there in game 1, but looking to bounce back in game 2. It is Rostok. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. It is MindelVK. Go. Now we're loading into Gressvan, and Gressvan is a large map. Yes, has a lot of kind of defensive features to the map as well. But specifically in PvP, this is probably the map that has like all-ins most prevalent compared to every other map in the map pool. 1 base or 2 base all-ins are so common on Gressvan. A big reason for that is because there are so many proxy locations. We're talking about like in between these steam vents, or on the other side of these rocks, or even further out towards the south for proxy stargates. Like proxies and 1 base all-ins, we see them being so prevalent on Gressvan. But we'll see. We'll see if that's what we go for. As for the time being, probes are being sent out across the map, and we're just scouting each other. Everything's looking normal for now. As we are going to confirm the double gateway openers here from both players. Standard stuff. And really the first sign of deviation is going to be what 2 units come out from our Protoss players. We saw in game 1, Rostok went double Adept, and we saw MindelVK go Stalker Sentry. I wouldn't be surprised if MindelVK goes for a Stalker Sentry for a second time. But we'll see. As the Cyber Core is done, and we are going double Stalker actually. Double Stalker from MindelVK, and Rostok goes for the Stalker Sentry instead, so a bit of a role reversal here. Okay, it does make sense. So after MindelVK had such a solid performance in game 1, here in game 2, he's less concerned about scouting, less concerned about being safe. With these 2 Stalkers, he can be a little bit more assertive and aggressive on the map. He can push out and he can apply pressure to his opponents. Meanwhile, the Sentry has been spotted. Sentry has been spotted, so likewise, MindelVK should also know that Rostok will have a Stalker disadvantage because of that Sentry. So MindelVK, he will have a higher Stalker count overall. Island is being dealt with, and both players should be expanding. Here, Nexus is on the way. Likewise, Nexus should be on the way for our blue Protoss as well. So nothing too crazy, because no one went Adept, for example, like no one has like any hyper aggression on their mind. Stalkers are moving out, Phoenix is pushing in, or Hallucination is diving in, and Rostok is just going to confirm, okay, there's no like fast Stargate, no fast Robo, it wasn't a Twilight Council opener. He confirms the Twilight Council as well. A really good scout. And gets eyes on the natural as well. So he knows he's not being one-base all in. Which again is definitely a possibility on Gressfarm. Meanwhile, the Stalkers rock up, and MindelVK, he has more firepower, he has more Stalkers, but we have a shield battery, we have force fields. Rostok should be able to hold on. As both players just kind of test each other's micro, they dance with each other. Mindel will back off. And things are going to be settling down. Oh. Hey, we're going for a bit of a faster robo. With this, we can get into faster Warp Prism. We can go into fast Immortal production as well. I doubt we shouldn't really be going for fast Immortals just because we already have Blink on the way. So I imagine this will just be for a Warp Prism and Observers. We'll see. We shall see. As both players are just scouting each other. We saw MindelVK try to deny the scout, but he was unsuccessful. And Mindel will confirm the lack of additional gateways, and he confirms the additional tech from his opponent. There we go, and he goes for his own robo once he scouts. So Rostok going for more reactive play. You love to you love to see the hallucinated probes being sent out as well. For those wondering, when you hallucinate a probe, it actually makes multiple, I want to say 4 probes, and you can fan them out. And you can scout, or you can scout a wider surface area than you otherwise would with a single unit. Really nice stuff. Making sure there's no proxy. 2 more gates are thrown down for MindelVK, so he's going up to 4 gateways, which is still pretty sensible. Oh, he is going into fast Immortal production. Uh-oh. MindelVK. As opposed to that, Rostok is going for his 3rd, so again, more economic out of Rostok. MindelVK will have a larger army, will have a lot more firepower with that Immortal as well. Going for a delayed 3rd. Oh, there is no shield battery here, by the way, so MindelVK is going to be forced back. Rostok does have the higher Stalker count. Immortal does rock up. With this Immortal, MindelVK should be able to hold on to his 3rd. Likewise, Rostok getting into his own Immortal production. Forge on the way for upgrades. Forge on the way for MindelVK, so we're just chilling. This is your classic EU PvP. We're just chilling here on 3 bases. Gonna macro up, gonna saturate our bases, and yeah, gonna head into the mid game. Nothing too chaotic. MindelVK even going for double forge. Oh, it does cancel one. Okay. Only for a single forge. 4+1. And things are gonna be settling down. And we'll see kind of where our players, where they take towards. If anyone goes for faster disruptors, again, disruptors, they kind of work quite well here, especially in the mid-game of PvP. Or if they go charge or Archon, we can see Rostok working towards charge. Imagine working towards Archons momentarily as well. MindelVK is doing no such thing though, he's just staying on pure Stalker Immortal. Which is a little bit of a more mobile army, a more cost-efficient army in a way. Charge shots, the advantage that they bring in a PvP is that they do such a great job at tanking shots. Zealots, they take a surprising amount of Stalker hits and Immortal hits as well. They do a great job at just being a shield for your own Stalker army to be able to just out-trade your opponent. MindelVK is aware of that, he's going for his Temple Archives. Likewise, as good as Zealots are, Archons do an amazing job at just shutting down Zealots. You can have like a sea of Zealots and mate, 3 Archons. They can deal with that. They can. Archons, they do insanely well against Zealot armies. So both players just kind of refining their armies in different ways. Rostok being active on the map, he does have his War Prism. He is up in army supply quite heavily. This Zealot timing is going to hit hard. The Archons are not ready for MindelVK. Temple Archives just finished up, but there are no Archons. We dive on forward. A shield battery gets depowered. We blink on top of the Immortals, and MindelVK just doesn't have enough to keep up with this. Is going to lose everything. The Immortals go down. The Stalkers are being pushed back to the 4th base. To go for another massive warp in. MindelVK just was not ready for this. Zealots are going down. Upgrades are evening up. And Rostok just has the higher numbers. He has more Stalkers. Oof. And yeah, MindelVK, it's just a bit of a domino effect. It's snowballing out of control. With the arrival of these Zealots, we should be able to clean up the rest of this as well. Yeah, as Rostok, he's going to be forcing the ace match. He is fighting back in the series, will be losing his Prism, but for the cost of every one of these Stalkers. Ay, ay, ay. Only 3 Stalkers do survive. The 3rd base has been broken. You see MindelVK trying to warp in another wave of Stalkers, but it's just a little bit too late. He lost his 3rd. He still has his southern base up and running, but Rostok, he is miles ahead in the economy. Even looking to take a 5th. She doesn't need it all, but he can take it, sure. Why not? Can take another base. Meanwhile, Rostok is going to rotate around. Now he's headed towards one of the last mining bases here, or the most important mining base of MindelVK. He's getting in position. Rostok rotating back around once again. MindelVK is going to go for a bit of a Zealot run by, but the cannon and the shield battery finished up just in time. And Rostok, he can focus on his attack. Zealots are going down. Another wave of reinforcements are coming out as well from Rostok. That Zealot cannon attack across the map gets cleaned up. GG gets called, and Rostok ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. Oh, let's go. We are going all the way to game number 3. Oh. And yeah, here in game 2, it was a much more passive opener. Up to 3 bases, things were pretty similar. No one was really asserting themselves too much, but it all kind of built up towards that big charge timing from Rostok. I keep wanting to say Rockstar. I don't know if I accidentally said that once or twice, but like my brain keeps thinking Rockstar, and I know it's not correct. I keep stopping myself every time. Aye. Let's go. We're going to the ace match. Game 3. I keep thinking like Rockstock as well. Look, we're tired. We haven't eaten today. It's fine. I'm living off of water right now. And here we go. We're diving into our next game, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player representing Hazard Esports, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game, forcing the ace match. It is Rostok. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. Bleeding a little bit there in that last game, being forced into the ace match. It is MindelVK. And we're here on Neo Humanity. Let's go. Smallest map in the map pool. And this can go one of 2 ways. Neo Humanity can lead to a lot of aggression, can lead to a lot of like 2-base play. You can be in the face of your opponent. Once you knock down these rocks, it doesn't take too long to push out across the map and try and lay siege upon the 3rd base of the opposing player. Likewise, there are some also good proxy locations as well for proxy Stargate, for example. You want to be a little bit more aggressive. On the flip side of things, as we get into the mid game, this map can be really defensive as well. It can be really difficult to break a defending player once they take control of the center of the map, the ramp locations, the choke points as well. I don't know how much that really applies to PvP though, to be fair. We'll see. We shall see. As both players just going to be scouting each other. 2 gate openers all around. No one is being greedy. No one is being too economic. Going for a gate expand. And yeah, so far, no one is really sending out another probe on the map, going for any kind of proxy. We're just scouting each other, confirming. Rostok has both pylons in his main. Likewise, so does MindelVK. So no one is afraid of any kind of weird proxies. And both players are looking to expand. Okay. We love to see it. Love to see it. Oh, what's that in the chat? Pizza time. Why is there a pineapple on that pizza, no clone? What's going on, huh? What's happening? Give me some prawns, Bobby. Give me some prawns. As Rostok does go for a double Stalker opener into double Sentry. Okay. So again, very macro-oriented, very defensive. Likewise, MindelVK also going for his own Sentry opener as well. So both players just going to be hyper-focused on scouting each other, not so much on being aggressive. Oh. As, oh, we do see Rostok wasn't quite able to deny that scout. Hallucination dips in. And should get eyes on the timing of the hatchery of the Nexus, as well as the Twilight Council. So MindelVK just getting a full scout of his opponent. They're getting eyes on the Twilight Council and the Nexus. And likewise, so is Rostok. Why are the leaves still on that pineapple on the pizza? That's how you know it's fresh, Baki. That's how you know it's fresh. Ay, ay, ay. No canned pineapples here. Shaking that head. What should I eat today? I haven't known. Today's Thursday. Kind of a weird day to get pizza. I don't know. For me, like, pizza day is like Friday. Like Friday night. That's when you get pizzas. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll just boil some water. We'll get some ramen. Get some instant noodles. As Hallucination dives in and we get eyes on the Twilight Council, on the Forge, on the base timing as well. So both players just confirming, alright, we're not doing anything crazy. We're good. Oh. As I guess MindelVK, the big advantage that he has is much faster upgrades, so he's going to be able to hit a +1 or even a +2 timing. We can see Mindel delaying his third base in favor of a Robo. Rostok going for a faster third instead. Yeah, a little bit more economic here from our red Protoss. Oh boy. Remember earlier how I was talking about how, like, I don't know if, like, the defensive features of this map really apply to PvP. As I say that, the towers in the middle of the map are knocked down, third base is being taken. Rostok, he wants to be very defensive here, even throws down a spotter pylon on the left-hand side, taking control of the Zelnagas, looking to absorb anything that MindelVK has to throw at him. Meanwhile, Mindel not working on, like, early immortals or anything like that. Adepts trying to harass across the map. Rostok, he does outposition his opponent. Good force fields, takes down the Stalker and both sentries as well. Rostok, oh my god, taking a beautiful fight here. Can he even deny the third base at the same time? The Adepts, they make it into the main. They won't get any economic damage done, but they are distracting the army here of MindelVK. We blink on forward, and this may just be too much. This is snowballing out of control. Third base is going to be cancelled. Looking at the units tab here, Rostok is ahead in the Stalker count as well. He doesn't push into the natural, but he does contain MindelVK to 2 bases. Very nicely done. Mindel just immediately, unfortunately, was caught out of position. The force fields completely cut up his army. They couldn't really do much about it. Meanwhile, behind this, Rostok getting into his own forge, his own robo, is going to be a little bit later when it comes to immortal production and his upgrades. But he's looking to catch up. He's looking to catch up. Oh, meanwhile, MindelVK, he knows he's behind. So what do you do when you're behind? You can go Dark Shrine, sure. But Disruptors, man. Here we go. Going straight into that Robotic Spade. Disruptor production is upon us. That is another really good way to come back in this game. You may be down in army, you may be down in economy, but one good Nova can win you the game. Meanwhile, Rostok just getting further ahead, getting his 4th base. Getting +1. Even though he got his Robo, I believe he hasn't gotten, he hasn't started Immortal production or anything like that, just working on Observers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Just an Observer. He's sticking with a Gateway composition instead. Lasagna! Oh! I haven't had a good lasagna in a while. If a person is crazy enough for pineapple, they can have the leaves too. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this. Oh, it's too soon, Papi. It's too soon. You're making my mouth water. We're not even halfway through the broadcast. I can't think about food yet. It's it's gonna kill me. Oh yeah, Papi. But here we go. The Bulls have arrived. The Disruptors are here. So far, I believe unscouted from Rostok. Let me just double check. Yeah, he hasn't seen the Bay. He hasn't seen the Disruptors. Not yet. Rostok's just relying on a gateway heavy composition instead. That Disruptor count is getting higher and higher. We have a 2nd Robo on the way from MindelVK, so we can get into double Disruptor production. Oh boy. Now looking to get out of control. Now, to be fair, Disruptors in low numbers can be dealt with by Blink Stalkers. There are only 2 Novas available. MindelVK getting an eye on the army. Okay, he blinks forward. No! Oh, barely does avoid that Disruptor. Purification Nova doesn't quite connect. We have another in the chamber. Rostok fearless, pushing forward. Has to be very careful with how he blinks. Ooh, as the Immortal is exposed, we dive on forward. We take down one. We take down both Disruptors. We have another Nova going off. We'll connect, but only on a handful of Zealots. Rostok is being forced back, but that was a good trade. Oh, he's coming back in. Oh my god, he's pushing into an overcharge. I'm not too sure about this. Yeah, defensive warp in does complete. MindelVK does have the Stalker advantage now, and Rostok has to respect that. Let's back off. I mean, he did get 2 Immortals and 2 Disruptors. Like, that was a really good fight for Rostok, but he didn't have enough to keep going. Rotate around, distracting the army. Doesn't quite get the pylon. At the same time, a Prism slips into the main base. Looks like it has been spotted, but we get a massive warping of Zealots. Again, Rostok trying to pull away the attention of his opponent. And MindelVK should be able to defend back at home. That's a really awkward spawn location for the Disruptors. Up. Prism does go down. Zealots don't get any economic damage done. Rostok diving back in. The Disruptor's exposed. Up. Can he get it? Oh, not quite. Oh, Rostok, he bleeds out a lot of Stalkers, and he doesn't get the Disruptor. Team MindelVK chasing him down. Rostok just losing a little bit too much, and behind this, he hasn't been transitioning. He's just committed to Stalker Zealot. No Disruptors for Rostok, no Phoenixes, no higher form of tech. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, Rostok, he's ahead in the economy, I guess. He has another base on the way. He can afford to trade, but things can escalate very quickly against Disruptors. Speaking of, quite connect, not yet. Yeah, Zealot run by on the right hand side is spotted by MindelVK. Warps in his own round of Zealots. Rostok, he could even try to go for a surround. Setting up these zealots, he could try and come in from behind. And here we go. Looking to try and collapse on this army. Nova goes off. Doesn't quite connect. We can see Rostok a little bit mistimed. He came in too soon. I love the idea. He's looking for the perfect engagement. MindelVK going for his own Zealot Rama instead, trying to pull apart the attention of Rostok. Fourth base looking pretty exposed. Oh, and the Zealots are being caught out. Aye, aye, aye. Zealots of Rostok will go down. Now MindelVK can focus on the main fight. Yeah, I don't know. At this point, it does feel like MindelVK's army is just looking too good. Unless he loses all of his disruptors somehow, I don't know. Rostok can kind of how he can come out ahead in this fight. So here we go, force to blink on forward. Massive Novas are going to be connecting, but the Zealots, they come in from behind. Up. As Rostok, he took a lot of Novas to the face. He's going to be able to clean up these disruptors. They will go down. That was a really messy fight. With the death of those disruptors, Rostok, he's going to be able to push on through, but no, he just doesn't have enough. The army supply neck and neck. Upgrades are evening up. Nova's gonna force Rostok back. Oof. And finally, Rostok is throwing down at least a tech structure. He's going for a Dark Shrine. Interesting. We do have cannons all over the place. Actually, this third base is looking a little bit more vulnerable. There's potential for DTs. Is potential. As the disruptors are exposed, they don't send out their Novas. Ooh, 3 disruptors will go down. We do take a couple of Novas to the face. MindelVK, yeah, I think he does come out better after that fight. Does trade out better. Can Rostok keep up? He's taking all these bases, which is great and all, but every single fight he bleeds out so many units. Oh, base trade? Yeah, here we go. Rostok going to be denying the base on the left-hand side. At the same time, though, he's going to be losing his base on the right. Are we going to recall? The answer is no. We're committing. Rostok, he's going for the 4th. Likewise, MindelVK also going for the 4th base of Rostok. Now, to be fair, Rostok, he has bases to spare. He did have additional bases compared to his opponent. So he can lose some of these. MindelVK is just pushing on forward. Taking down base after base. With these disruptors, he will have the stronger army. And Rostok's actually turning back around. He's coming back home. Both players are hurting, but can he push into these disruptors? He's setting up first round. He's trying to come in from the right-hand side as well. We have 3 disruptor shots left. Big connection on the Zealots. But it looks like we're only going to get 1 connection. Rostok cleaning up everything else. We have another disruptor. We do. We do. Yeah, and pushing into disruptors is just not going to happen. At the same time, MindelVK counterattacks with Zealots, with Stalkers. Barely doesn't get the 3rd base. Defensive DTs will clean this up. Both players on 3 bases. Both players with similar economies. With the disruptors. Unless we're able to set up another surround. If we set up another concave or surround here from Rostok. He can still overcome this army, but these head-on engagements, they're just not going to work out. It's not like this, no! Ugh. Nova connects with the Zealots. Stalkers barely blink out in time. Zealots threatening us around. More DT harass from both players. God, Mindel, he wants the base. He just wants the Nexus. Can he get it? Everything else is turning back around. We actually don't have detection. Uh-oh. Rostok doesn't have an observer. He's just gonna lose the base. Oh, the base will go down. Observer finally rocks up, but a little bit too late. At the same time, MindelVK takes down the 4th base as well. Rostok falling apart. Oh god, taking another massive Nova to the face. And yeah, over the course of this game, these Disruptors, they have just been the winning unit here for MindelVK. Just been getting so much value out of them. Despite losing a lot throughout the course of this game. He's lost 16. 16 here, but despite that, winning out in the base trade, having good connections where it counts. God, those Novas are going to be going off. Another massive connection. Oh my god, on the army. GG gets called, and MindelVK does it. He takes down Rostok 2-1 and advances on to the semifinals to face off against Iba. GG. GG, well played. But a shout out to Rostok, a player that I'm not too familiar with, but great to see him going to the ace match against MindelVK, showing that he has it within him to contend against some of these other more well-known European players, European Protosses even. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Mindel. He does advance on to the semis, where he's going to be taking a break. He's going to be taking a bit of a break here. Iba versus MindelVK will be later on in the evening. We still have to figure out who is going to be facing off in the upper semifinals.